has you covered. Start your day with the first word. Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the working lunch. Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports. The working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Midday in the Queen City, business is booming. You know, few things bring a community together like beer, and we're going street side today. Let's do lunch. Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs, renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch. Hello, welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. This is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, bringing you updates and headlines about various activities that businesses have going on in the community, bringing you interviews with local leaders, business owners, and more. We all sometimes try to squeeze in a bite to eat, but in today's case, going to be getting you something to drink before you go back to face the afternoon. Happy Friday. Glad to have you here. Cincinnati business headlines to start us off. You can add a check mark to the list of times that we have had an update on a business that is moving to Blue Ash. Kicking off our Friday show with a big one. Resilience, which is a biotech company and a drug maker, moving from San Diego to Blue Ash, Ohio. Big announcement that came down yesterday from Ohio state leaders, our representatives in Washington, local leaders chiming in as well. Blue Ash Mayor Jill Cole with a quote saying that decision to establish a corporate headquarters in Blue Ash is a tremendous win for her city and for this region. She says it will bring high-quality jobs, continued economic momentum, and she says it reinforces Blue Ash's reputation as a premier destination for innovative and growing companies. That's a big move. They're going to be coming to Kenwood Road between Creek and Cornell. According to Resilience's growing Ohio-based sterile injectable manufacturing network, going to be adding to it. Resilience says it will also serve as a world-class drug product packaging and supply operation, as it already has a more than $500,000 square foot facility, a 500,000 square foot facility in Westchester. That's the former AstraZeneca site. This Blue Ash move is a big deal with Jobs Ohio, likely involving tax incentives. You can expect an official ribbon cutting on this new spot in Blue Ash soon. Now, on the other side of the economic spectrum, it was a rough day for locally based Kroger on Thursday. Kroger stock fell 8% in trading, with first quarter results being released. Those numbers actually matched earnings expectations, but they didn't make investors feel better about underlying sales growth. That kind of performance not really helping with questions about the way CEO Greg Foran has been leading things so far. His time in the big chair relatively short just yet. We've told you about a number of executive leadership changes at Kroger when Foran came aboard and in the ensuing weeks after. You heard Kramer on CNBC talking about going against Walmart and Costco as part of Kroger's aggressive plan. But on the local front, it also comes as chains like Publix are opening stores in Kroger's own backyard in northern Kentucky so far. CEO Greg Foran acknowledged in the earnings release that the company is, quote, pleased with our first quarter results, but we know there is more work to do. Back to some good news. On a Friday, here's something you haven't heard in a while. Frisch's is now hiring for what it's calling a refreshed space on Orphanage Road in Fort Wright, Kentucky. That spot was one of many Frisch's restaurants that closed by the tail end of 2024. This revamped location should be done and ready to go in about a month. Frisch's currently has less than 3 dozen locations here in the tri-state area, after once boasting more than 100 total nationwide. Many locations faced eviction after ownership sold the land underneath the restaurants. That is a look at what this refreshed spot in Fort Wright is going to look like. And once again, they are hiring, so that's exciting. Golf Week magazine releasing its annual list of the top public golf courses, and some local spots made the list. Again, these are public golf courses. Lassing Point in Union, Kentucky, coming in number 2 in the state, according to Golf Week magazine, for the second straight year. Lassing Point has been around since the mid-90s. It is just $26.50 to play 9 holes there, and it's less than $50 for a full 18. Stone Lick Hills of Batavia was ranked 9th in Ohio, with just over 20 years in the business. Stone Lick has variable rates going on this season, $76 for 18 holes Monday through Thursday. It runs about $100 for weekend rounds. If you're a big local golfer, you know that the Cincinnati Recreation Commission has a self-funded $7.6 million renovation campaign going on for all city-owned golf courses. Avon Fields, California, Glenview, Newman, Reeves, and Woodland all getting some attention from the city of Cincinnati. Turning now to today's Big Bite. If you were watching yesterday's show, and why wouldn't you be, we talked yesterday about various business elements that Covington has going on. And because we've got one of the owners and founders of Streetside Brewery on our show today, I thought doing a little dive into the Cincinnati neighborhood of Columbia Tusculum would be appropriate to lead us in. Columbia Tusculum is Cincinnati's oldest neighborhood. The section of land now called Columbia Tusculum was founded back in 1788. It was annexed by the city in the early 1870s as a mix with some other nearby communities. It gets a little complicated, but that's the broad strokes of it. The area was pretty much ground zero for the flood of 1937. It's famous for its painted ladies. You can see them right there. Vibrant 19th century Victorian homes painted in bold, contrasting colors, highlighting their intricate architectural details. It's sort of like the Cincinnati area's version of San Francisco with the Victorian architecture that you can see all throughout that city. Really cool painted houses there. The 1970s brought about the East End Urban Design Plan, which identified some major goals for the Columbia Tusculum area, building up the historical image, reinforcing the neighborhood center on Eastern Avenue, seen in the Carnegie, and other moves to upgrade the area's travel needs while also incorporating good urban design. That was a plan set forth in the 70s, but patience has really been the name of the game for a lot of people living in Columbia Tusculum over the years. In the mid-90s, about 20 years after that plan was passed, there was a study of the neighborhood business district trying to determine if any parts of the area could be considered blighted as a way to move forward. Columbia Tusculum is a neighborhood that was needing attention for quite some time. The study concluded that Columbia Tusculum's NBD, Neighborhood Business District, should be designated as a blighted area in some spots. That was the best path forward, proposing development options for large vacant parcels at Delta Avenue and Columbia Parkway to improve and further develop those areas. It was in the early 2000s that young people really started flocking to the neighborhood. There's a bird's eye view. Many of them young professionals taking advantage of the direct route to downtown via Columbia Parkway and also some better prices for housing. Businesses, of course, that's the focus of our show here. Businesses have been growing in Columbia Tusculum in the aftermath of that. I told you it took a while, about a decade worth of waiting. Anchor businesses had been holding on for a long stretch in the area. Certainly Jeff Ruby's Precinct immediately comes to mind. Tostado's Grill has been a staple for the bar crowd to grab a mic for a karaoke performance in between shots of tequila. Allen's Cafe had been going since the 90s, although it did just close last year after recently trading hands. Matt Ackerman moved to the area in 2005, started Ackerman CPA, growing into a community leader there himself. And Matt really wasn't alone. There's a piece in Soapbox Cincinnati going back to 2008, which declared that neighborhood to be booming soon, comparing it to Lincoln Park in Chicago. Swampwater Grill opened in the East End in 2013, right next to the Riverside Center Antique Mall. That's been going on Kellogg Avenue since 2007. Pearl's Bar started serving drinks inside an 1860s-era home in 2015. Taglio Pizza set up shop in the newly developed Columbia Square in 2016. Second location from them began in OTR just before COVID really took root. And in keeping with that influx of young professionals, there are a number of gyms and yoga studios and wellness centers all set up in that neighborhood as well. Because we're nothing if not timely here on The Working Lunch, this coming Saturday, that would be tomorrow, is the annual Tusculum Street Fest, which blocks off a stretch of Eastern Avenue, getting people out into the neighborhood, meeting each other and rubbing elbows, live music, vendors, activities for kids, and more. Proceeds from that event benefit beautification initiatives, engaging community events, and the support of local businesses and organizations. Tusculum Street Fest celebrates the culture of pioneers in that festival website's words, who invest their time and their money in the neighborhood. That's a theme in that neighborhood. Whether it's a business owner seeing the opportunity to provide a need or just someone who lives there seeing the beauty of the hills and the river, everyone in CT takes part in the community in some way. Lots going on in that Cincinnati neighborhood of roughly 1,500 people. We talked about the slew of businesses setting up shop in Columbia, Tusculum, and one of the big early adopters to take a chance in this modern Columbia Tusculum renaissance was Streetside Brewery, celebrating 10 years. They opened a decade ago. We're going to be talking more about them coming up next. You are watching The Working Lunch on The Crown. Big Beer Friday. Stick around.
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for The Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Dinner! Dinner! Hey.
All right.
Whoa.
Great job.
Yeah. Yeah, big away! It was great.
How'd that feel?
Intense. It was good. Kind of a fight to the death, you know? That's cool. What?
And you got
Yeah, it was cool.
and you got right back up.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right.
Let's do it again.
Yeah.
I'll tell you to score the punches to get through. I was really like, I've done it!
Yes. All right, go ahead and keep going. If you keep going, you can come around and score points.
We do have a game coming up, so they tend to be a little more focused and like strict.
Now this green line is what you're trying to not go out of.
Okay.
Come out, so now you have to go back behind. No, right behind our friend right here. Yep.
Okay.
Nice. Good job.
Good one. We went butt. Okay. Hey. I got a big old tank, baby. I think I'm better skating backwards than frontwards. Ooh, everything's fine. Oh my God! You literally, I went for boys.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Fast, hard.
Wow! Oh my God!
Nice.
Yeah. Really did try to go hard.
Yeah, and you could have kept like, you could have went in hard.
Welcome back to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. We are in the guest segment of the show. It's a fun Friday show, and I am joined by Kathy Hickey, who is the founder, co-founder, co-owner of Streetside Brewery in Columbia, Tusculum. One of my favorite breweries in town, if I'm being honest with you. Kathy, I'm glad to have you on the show.
Well, thank you. I'm happy to be here.
You and I met just about a week ago, sitting in lawn chairs in the front yard of a home in Columbia, Tusculum, right along Eastern Avenue.
Yeah.
And we got to talking, and I found out that you were one of the owners of Streetside. And I feel like that is such a microcosm of the way businesses in that neighborhood operate. The idea of just casually hanging out with people, maybe having a beer in a lawn chair, and then striking up a conversation. There's such a community vibe to that I feel like really is so representative of the neighborhood.
Yeah, for sure. That is how so many of the people in the neighborhood support the businesses. And that was funny. It was I normally don't. When our mutual friend invited me over, I normally don't stop on my way home because sometimes it can mean trouble for the next day. So, but that was great. It was meant to be. So
it was meant to be, and
yeah.
I really have enjoyed what you guys are doing. Been stopping by Streetside since you guys opened. Congratulations on 10 years, by the way.
Thank you.
What got you motivated to start the brewery in the first place?
So I've got to be honest, I was not motivated to start the brewery at all. It was my husband and my son. Mm-hmm. My husband just wanted to open a beer bar on the east side, similar to Half Cut, if you've ever been there.
Okay.
It was an OTR a long time ago. He's going to do that in his retirement, and then he and my son started home brewing, and they got better and better at it. And then they thought, well, when we open this little this little beer bar, why don't we have a little system?
Yeah.
And so that's how it hit.
So the idea was starting very small.
It was. Our original business plan is ridiculous. It was very small. It actually involved having the brewers work the bar as well.
Okay.
So, once they kind of got that, in their heads, it just kind of took off. The system is, we're a microbrewery, but the system is not a small system.
Well, yeah, you guys talk on your website about the way that this all got engineered, and the tap equipment, or not the tap equipment, the brewing equipment specifically was designed to a specific way that your son wanted it. He had like some formal schooling in beer brewing?
Yes, he went to Brew Lab in Sunderland, England.
Good grief.
And it's one of the issues with that, there's a great program also in Germany, but the downfall of that was that Garrett doesn't speak German.
Okay.
So he went to the one in England. And when he came home from that, he'd spent several months there. He went in, toured different breweries in Belgium, the Netherlands, I think, went to Ireland, and got to kind of guest brew there. He definitely had an idea of what he wanted when we came back.
Yeah, so this was something, this is a big project for him, and even though the idea was just to start it small?
Yeah.
Well, so then how do things snowball from there then?
So it just kind of started that I love hospitality. That was always my background. I took 20-some years off to raise kids. So I did eventually say, okay, I'll run the front of house, you guys do the back, and we all do have our areas. My husband is the CFO, and he's in charge of also changing every light bulb in the building.
Well, that's a normal CFO responsibility, sure.
And then Garrett runs the brewery. He's the guy that writes the recipes and orders brews. He does it all. He's kind of the mastermind behind everything. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of snowballed then into, we started looking for a spot. We were doing site searching. During that time, Garrett was out of town working for a minor league baseball team in Erie, PA.
Okay.
And that's where I grew up in Erie. Garrett was born there. So he finally did come back, and we chose the former site of the East End Cafe. Yeah. And unfortunately, there was a fire there in 2010. Okay. We purchased it in 2015. And we had to tear it down because of the damage, and then they just kind of went from there. When that, we knew how much space we had, so we went to Portland Kettle Works, mm-hmm. and we were really, really adamant about having our equipment made in the United States.
You're blowing up.
I'm assuming that, yeah.
They must be watching the show.
I know. I think they are. Yeah.
We're not doing the call-in segment till after the break.
I wanted notes just in case, like you stumped me or something.
Oh, come on. You know what you're talking about. This is a family business.
So, so we went out to Portland. That's where we got our original 15-barrel tanks, brew house, everything, and we have purchased from them, as we've gotten bigger. We have, more bright tanks now. We have a 30-barrel fermenter.
What was it like to get things started, though? Because you told me that you and your husband and your son you all kicked in like the same amount of money to be equal partners in this.
Yeah.
Was there ever a discussion or hesitation about, hey, we're family, but now we're starting a business, and that's a whole different dynamic?
It is. I grew up my father was an entrepreneur, so I grew up in a family business, so I had that modeled for me. And actually, Brian, at the time, well, he worked for our family business for 30. He did just retire, sort of. He worked for our family business for 30-some years, so we're used to working with family and dealing with, kind of just the whole. It's kind of hard because people, family knows how to push each other's buttons. So, we try really hard not to do that.
That's a good policy.
And we also try really hard to, kind of stay in our own lane. There's certain things that we're good at. Like, I would never go downstairs and say anything about a beer that, I wouldn't look at a recipe and say, I don't know about that hop. And Garrett would say, yeah, you're right, you don't know about that hop. So, So
is that a lot of pressure for you, though? Because now you're if you're handling front of house and the tap room that's going on there, your son may be coming up with the recipes and brewing the beer, but, you're kind of the face of the operation a little bit, right? You're the one that's interacting with customers and greeting people as they come and go?
Yes. I would say I am probably the one that does that the most. Garrett is, if you've been to our brewery, you can overlook the brewing area, so people can see Garrett and James and. They can see all of those guys working. Steve, our production manager. Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
that's Garrett, folks. James, and Steve.
Okay, and that's Garrett on the right, right?
Yes. So they're, we actually have a day every year that is devoted. It's called Steve Day.
Okay.
And it's devoted to anyone whose name is Steve, Stephanie, Esteban, any formulation of that name. And Steve has a Steve flight, and he has a Steve drink, and we have stickers that say Steve.
You get a good turnout for that?
Oh, yes, we do. It's a lot of fun.
You get every Steve in town.
Oh, yeah, and everybody that wants to be a Steve. Yes.
When you guys were starting this business, again, congratulations on 10 years. 2016, that was during a period of time when breweries were really popping up all over Cincinnati. It started around maybe 2010. And for a number of years, there were all sorts of new breweries that were coming up. Was that just because there was something in the air? You guys were in a line of groups. And then how do you distinguish yourself when there are so many other options that are all kind of new?
Yeah, that was scary. So we knew that Garrett was a good brewer, and when he went to school, we knew it even more because of, what his instructors said. It felt like it was like a calling. A lot of it was because it's in Columbia, Tusculum. At the time, my entire family lived within a half mile of Streetside Brewery. Our daughter lived in the East End on Worth. Garrett lived on Linwood. We live a half mile from Streetside.
And it's a tight-knit community anyway.
Yes, and we were very invested in what was going on in the community. At the time, I was the president of the community council. We were on the business association. So finding a spot in Columbia, Tusculum was we looked a lot of places. It was great. So, and also the smallness that we thought it would be. We definitely thought we could handle it.
Yeah.
There's good ones out there that are bigger than us that started before us that also helped us.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and then you guys were also, the timing of it, it was really interesting, too. I've talked about this with other people running breweries. The ones that started out before Ohio made it legal to have a tap room along with the brewing operation. Because when you guys started, was a tap room a thing, or was the plan just to make beer and distribute it?
We got into that right at the beginning. We could have a tap room. There was a brewery right around the corner. I still miss it, called Blank Slate.
Blank Slate was my favorite brewery in town.
Yeah. Yep, miss them. And he started out just as a brewery and then added the tap room later. He helped, he was a huge help
That
to
was
us.
Scott, right?
Yes, Scott.
Yes. Scott, I think, was one of the most talented beer guys in the city. I think he's still working in the industry in some degree.
Yes.
But the idea of being able to add in the tap room, that's a whole new revenue stream. You're getting people coming in on a regular basis. It's not about trying to find distribution deals and getting stuff put on shelves and in coolers. You have people coming to you now, which is a whole different business model maybe than what you were expecting when you started.
Yeah, and it's really what that's what pays the people. That's what pays our employees is that tap room. So for me, when I hire people, one of the things I say is when someone walks into this tap room, they're walking into my living room. So consequently, they're walking into your living room. You know, what would you do when somebody walks into your living room? You know, you offer them a drink, you smile, you say hello, you show them where the bathrooms are. If they look like they're confused, you say, how can I help you? So that's, for me, that's the huge thing, is just having people come in and know how much they mean to us. You know, whenever I book an event, I'm like, you know, you mean something to us. This event, you know, puts, you know, food on my people's table and buys diapers for their babies.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of food, so that's another element. And again, this is in the evolution of a business and ways of finding new revenue streams. There's so many places that do either start out with a restaurant, which is a whole other ball of wax as far as different margins and new costs that are ongoing. You guys, I think, in a really brilliant move, have incorporated a food truck that's just always there. Is that a contractual thing? How does that work with the food truck element? Because now people can show up and have a beer or two and then also still be able to get a bite to eat. There's no reason to leave.
Right. So when we first started, we would just get food trucks, you know, hopefully on the weekends. And I learned quickly that sometimes they don't show up. So we reached out to a gentleman that well, he actually owns a brick and mortar now. And he was very interested in being our permanent food truck. And he's a trained chef and he knew what he was doing. So we had him for several years. And then he got out of the food truck business. And we've had a couple more. We actually even had our own for a while because Steve, the production manager, is also a trained chef.
Oh, wow.
So,
well, no wonder he's got a day named after him.
Right. So when our chef that we had for, it's called Black Dog Grill, when he left us, I just said to Steve, I'm like, just help me order stuff and figure this out. I will never make you cook. And it worked for 2 years. And then it just got to be too much for me because it was the food truck. I love to cook, but I don't want to own a restaurant. So then we got another. Now we have El Cardinal Taqueria, Mexican. It's delicious. I think they have 4 other trucks that go around the city, but they are permanent to us. And then on Monday nights we have a Little Hill Pizza, and he brings in a wood-fired pizza oven
that he's driving around in.
Yeah, and makes
no kidding.
Makes pizzas from 4 to 9 on Mondays.
And now, did you see a difference in the amount of time that people would stay and the number of people showing up? You know, pre-food truck and post-food truck.
Yeah, our average check probably went up by about 20%.
That's huge. That's huge, and that's regular business. That's really great.
Yeah.
There's a ton going on with Streetside. You talked about the community itself and the events that you guys that can go on there. You guys do a ton of events in the neighborhood, supporting a number of charities and community programs. We're going to talk about a lot of that and more when we come back from break. You're watching The Working Lunch here on The Crown. Stick around. More from Streetside Brewing coming up.
What part of it do you think you struggled with the most? And I don't want to know about, you know, the intricacies of relationships or whatnot, but what about the structure of your life at the time did you really have a hard time with?
Well, I guess it would be sharing so much information about my personal life, and just in the back end of things, I just never felt like they always just wanted more. And I'm like, well, I can't be more funny. Like, this is it. And I can't be, yeah, and like I've shared like very vulnerable moments. Like, I don't know what else you want me to do. And then at a point where I'm just like, I don't know if they value me.
I was just gonna ask, did you ever feel valued or appreciated?
At some points, and by most of my coworkers, yes. By some people in the building, like we just wouldn't see eye to eye. And I think that's gonna happen anywhere. It happens.
Yeah.
But at the time, I was mad, and I'm like, I can't give you any more than what I'm giving. Okay? And for a long time, I was just like, wow, you know, I worked at this radio station, I gave them my life, and I wasn't good enough, and then I get let go. What do I do now? And for a moment, I was frustrated and upset, and like rejection sucks. But now I'm just like, they did me a favor. And honestly, like I grew so much in that time. I wouldn't have had social media, and now I'm like making a small business out of
You're
that.
a social media queen.
Thank
As
you.
somebody who went from 0 to 100, and you like really lean into it. I'm a social, like I look at people like you, and I'm like, you like really lean into it and love it and do it well, and it's so great.
You're really sweet to say that, because
Yeah.
then, you know, just like the voice in your head, it's like, I'm not doing enough, I'm not creating enough, I need to post a picture today, I'm not gonna post a picture because it doesn't feel authentic, and then I overthink for 45 minutes, and so then it's like,
Dude, the
oh,
pressure to post every day. I haven't thought about that.
like, I think I should get bangs, what do you guys think? And I'm like, that's the post?
It's a great post.
I'm not getting bangs.
But thank God. Okay. Can you?
Every morning, Cincinnati wakes up and gets to work. Companies are built, deals are made, restaurants open, ideas become careers, and every day the people behind it all sit down at the working lunch. Founders, CEOs, entrepreneurs, community leaders, the people building Cincinnati. The Working Lunch with Jack Crumley, weekdays, noon to 1, only on The Crown.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you the stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. We are in a segment of the show with the bar rolled out, which means we are in the drinking lunch for the afternoon. Happy Friday, everybody. I'm joined by Kathy Hickey of Streetside Brewery in Columbia, Tusculum. She's brought in some product for us today, and if there's one thing we love on this show, it's product. Kathy, what do we got here?
So today we have, the first one is our New England IPA. It's called Supra.
It's called Supra.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got that name because that's how our original first two brewers greeted each other every morning.
Perfect.
And it was one of the first New Englands in the city that someone did. And it's the first one I ever had, and I still feel like it's the best one I've ever had.
Okay.
This is our best-selling beer.
No
By
kidding.
far, gosh, Garrett probably told me how many batches we've made. I think it's over 500.
People are still into the IPA stuff, huh? That's the beer
A
that
lot.
okay.
Yeah.
Because I believe me, I'm happy to have a drink of this for sure.
Yeah.
I've always been a huge fan of your Raspberry Beret. That's the beer that I have always been a fan of. Where in the world has your son ever talked about where he comes up with the various recipes and the names? Every name of a beer feels like it's like, you know, like the trivia teams that are at a bar and Jason and the Answernauts, and like I can't come up with the names like that.
So some of it is just like modern culture, you know, little, you know, nods and winks to that. At the very beginning, it was, a lot of it was Garrett, and we've had several brewers, Garrett and a brewer. Then when Steve joined our group, he helped. And now we have our branding manager, our creative, Andy Sahoza, helps come up with, I don't know, like they just all have different brains.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I have to ask what things mean, and then they laugh and tell me how old I am.
Well, here, let's get a pour here on this. You want some too? We got 2 glasses.
Sure.
Here. Yeah, the names you guys have are, I think, really interesting, and the recipe ideas are interesting. I was reading a list of the awards that you guys have won. Great American Beer Festival, the World Beer Cup, the U.S. Open Beer Championship, Festival of Wood and Barrel-Aged Beers. You guys won a ton of awards for this stuff.
Yeah.
You don't.
All right.
Listen, there's no pressure here. Yeah. I'm going to enjoy beer on a Friday. That's really good, and I know that IPAs were such a big thing for folks on the beer scene, but I think you guys do a really good job also of making things accessible to people. Tell me about the boring beer.
So that's, we don't have any lager tanks, so if we make a lager, it ties up one of our tanks forever and ever and ever. So one of the things about a lager, especially that one, it's just a boring beer. It's just when people come in and say, I like whatever, Bud Light, Coors Light.
Yeah, they just want something easy.
Light. Easy drinking, lower ABV. This is the one that we point out. And we created it for those people. And right now, our buddies at Northern Row are brewing it for us because they have lager tanks.
Yeah.
And they do a great job. They can it for us. It's our only beer that we sell in 12-ounce format in six packs.
Everything else is the bigger can like this here?
Everything else is pints. And that's just, for us, it's boring beer has just been around for 2.5 years. We have some other lighter ones that are different, but that is the beer that we had a bridal party come in last week, and the dad, he's not a craft beer guy.
Yeah, sure.
Well, he drinks boring beer now. So
see, I think
it was good.
That's an interesting thing that you guys do, and that I think a lot of breweries in this sort of craft beer industry do, where you've got the hazy IPAs and the New England IPAs and all that stuff for the beer connoisseur types, but then also knowing that you guys are as mainstream as you are with food and everything else, and bringing families around and kids and dogs, like you're going to get people that aren't beer connoisseurs. So here's a little something that you can still drink and not have to worry about if it's something you don't like. It's an easy drinking beer.
Yes, definitely. And we have a couple of those. We have another one called Game Ball that the design on the can changes a little bit depending on what season it is.
Oh, okay. Like a color change sort of thing?
Well, depending on what, it might have orange and black in it during football season, and then yeah, we learned not to do anything more than colors on those.
Okay, well, speaking of colors, this other beer that you brought in has we're gonna finish this with finish that, and this is probably terrible practice for folks actually consuming, but this is the world we're living in here. There's a thing on this beer which is your rainbow, what's it called?
Rainbow Rodeo.
Rainbow Rodeo, and there's candies or something in this?
It's made with rainbow candies. That are chewy and hard on the outside.
This seems like a bad idea.
Yeah, we can't.
This is a choking hazard.
Name it, but we make it every year for Pride Month, and it just came out. The cans, we just canned it yesterday.
Okay.
So people can get it in the tap room now. They could get the draft a couple of days ago, but it when you taste it, well, it might taste a little IPA-ish.
Okay, well that's fine.
Well, yeah.
Are the candies coming out?
No. The candies already came out, and they're in feed.
Oh, so it's not like they're floating in the can. That's what I was afraid of.
Oh, no. So anyway, so Rainbow Rodeo is, look at that.
It's a great can. It's a gorgeous can.
Yeah, so we definitely, our artist is fantastic. So, all right.
Okay, well, Rainbow Rodeo.
Yep.
Here we go. That's very good. I like that a lot. What kind of beer is that?
It's a sour.
It's a sour
ale.
I'm partial to sours.
Yes. So it's, and this is a fun one to make. And it's, it's a lot similar to a raspberry beret because it's the same sour ale base, but we just put rainbow candies in it instead.
No, that's really tasty, actually.
Yeah.
One of the quotes that you guys have on your website that I wanted to ask you about is it says that beer is a blank canvas that can express many things to many people, which is a very sort of high-minded, artistic mindset, but I think it really is reflected in the different kind of beers you have. How much of that was an idea when you guys first started? Let's really think about this stuff, or did ideas like that just sort of evolve as you were putting your nose to the grindstone and just let's start this business?
So we always knew that because we're small, we could do different things. You know, the larger you get, the less creativity I think that you can express on a regular basis.
Certainly, you have more freedom when you're smaller.
Right. So we do have that. Like like just playing around with the different flavors. You know, we're known for our pastry stouts also, as well as our New Englands and our sours. And some of our pastry stouts are, you know, coconut, chocolate, graham cracker, whatever. I mean, we put all sorts of amazing things in these beers, and they end up being anywhere from 13 to 17% ABV. I mean, they're a heavy hitter.
Yeah. How do you avoid that cough syrup taste when you're into that high ABV?
You know, that's a good question, and the guy that can answer that is brewing right now.
We'll text him later.
Yeah, but no, they taste. Oh gosh, we probably taste the barrels every other week. So once they're ready, then they can put in the adjuncts to avoid that thick, whatever.
Yeah, sure. That medicine-y
I mean, you want it thick.
Yeah.
But yes, a lot of these beers just taste like we have one that's like a peanut butter fluff pie that tastes like a peanut butter fluff pie.
Talking about the names of things, you know, and also what you guys do being active in the community. You guys are willing to host all sorts of fundraisers. You told me that that's something you really like doing because I think you're a really people person and you like talking to folks. One of the fundraisers I saw that you guys did was to raise money for some sort of animal clinic, and you guys put out a beer that was called Who's a Good Beer, which is such a good name.
So that beer, it benefits staff Save the Animals Foundation.
Okay.
It's located on Red Bank Road. They have a cat division and a dog division. And this, oh my goodness, we have, I wish I could remember, it's probably been brewed over 100 times.
Okay.
So a portion of every sale in the tap room goes, 15% of every sale in the tap room goes towards Save the Animals, and then also as well as the cans.
Oh, wow.
So, and then what we do is they send us pictures of 4 cats and 4 dogs, and we feature them they're adoptable, and we feature them on the cans, on the labels.
That's really sweet.
So it is. And then once a year we have a reunion of if they're available, the dogs and the cats will all come in.
Well, you guys have a very welcoming front patio out there that I know pets are welcome there too. I think it's a really interesting space you guys operate. We're talking specifically about Streetside Brewery as far as the location that's on Eastern Avenue. But I mean, distribution-wise, you guys are in all 3 states, right? Is it Ohio, Kentucky, Indiana?
Yes. So we self-distribute in Ohio, and then we have a distributor, Craft Concierge in Indiana, and then Nolan Distributing in. It's mainly Lexington and North for Nolan. Although they've kind of gotten out there. People call and want our beer, so we say, you know, we'll call our distributors and tell them where. I mean, we've been as far as, because we can self-distribute in Ohio as far as Cleveland, because I'm from Erie, PA, and if I'm going there and somebody wants beer, it's in my truck and I stop. And Columbus, we have a weekly run to Columbus and Westerville area.
How is from your perspective, having run this brewery now for 10 years, how is the Cincinnati brewery scene? I know there have been a lot of questions about, you know, maybe younger people aren't drinking as much. A lot of breweries were seeing a future with a new product line of the THC seltzers. What's your take on sort of where the scene is right now?
So it is weird. Like a lot of people are talking about how younger people aren't drinking as much, and I think that everything is cyclical. You know, everybody finds something that they love for a while, and then, you know, maybe they move on. You know, depending, it can be anything. It can be seltzers, beer, bourbon, gin, whatever. We find we have to hustle hard to get people to come in the door. But once they're in the door, we can find something for anyone and everyone. You know, we have great NA beers. We don't brew them. We prefer to, try to buy them from local breweries.
Well, you guys are too busy making the high octane stuff.
Yeah. So, but that's really, as long as I think you're committed to the community of it all, people are going to come in. It doesn't, I know it's like our place is it's a drinking establishment, but I mean, not everybody drinks. Kids come in,
right?
And I think the better breweries, the people that are have a good craft, they'll be around. You know, people used to say, "Don't you think there's too many breweries in Cincinnati?" I'm like, "Well, are there too many restaurants?"
Right.
You know, we have
too
new
many gas stations.
Right. A new one opens every day, and we continue to support them. You know, because obviously there still is a need, or not a need.
Well, there's just a desire. Yeah, sure. Streetside Brewery in Columbia, Tusculum. Kathy Hickey, one of the owners, one of the co-founders. Really great stuff. Swing out there over the weekend. Tomorrow is Tusculum Street Fest. So a couple of blocks of Eastern Avenue are going to be blocked off, but don't let that stop you. There's all sorts of stuff to do. Streetside Brewery is one of my favorites. Kathy, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
We are going to take a break. We'll be back with more Working Lunch after this. Stick around.
On the radio here in Cincinnati.
Cincinnati has always felt like home.
Right here on the Crown Network.
Out and about in Cincinnati, bringing you these stories that you need to hear in the Queen City.
The Crown has you covered. Start your day with First Word, Cincinnati's only morning sports show. Power through midday with the Working Lunch, Cincinnati business talk that keeps you in the know. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, and the Rebound Rundown covers every corner of the college basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. First Word for your morning sports, Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city, the Working Lunch for business that hits home, and Rebound Rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe. Cincinnati sports fans are the best. Loyal, passionate, second to none. This city lives and breathes sports, and now it finally has a morning show to match. I'm James Rapine, and this is First Word, the only morning sports show in Cincinnati and the place where every day starts. We break down the biggest moments and set the agenda for the city. Marissa Contepelli and Jacob Tissett join me to bring the insight and energy you need to start your day. The conversation starts with First Word. First Word, weekdays 7 to 11, part of the Crown Network.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah!
Hell yeah. All right. I'm doing it. How do you think I'm doing so far?
You're doing really good. Really good. You already got your shifting points down and stuff. You're able to shift, start it, brakes, all that. You're standing up over the bumps, which is what we want to do, and
Essential.
you've already got your crashes out of the way, and you're tough, so you're going great.
I must say, I'm like on a 110, which is like what little kids ride, and I'm like in gear 1, okay? And even in gear 1, I'm like, okay, you can do this, And now I'm on gear 2,
Yeah.
So excited. One day I'll get to gear 3. But the main goal, I don't know, I really want to do a jump and like get some air and land it. So that's what we're gonna do now on this one.
Yeah.
I think I can do it. If anything, I think I'm gonna send it regardless. That's
You're gonna send it regardless?
I'm feeling confident right now. See what
Alrighty. You want to be prepared for the landing is the biggest thing. Like,
Okay.
you don't want to hit and like lose your arms off the bars and just like crash. So
I'm just gonna cruise. Cruising! Woo, woo.
I think with just a little bit more speed, you can maybe get some air.
You got it. Bad bitch. Okay. Hey! Woo!
That was sick.
That was cool.
What do you think?
That was so much fun.
So much fun?
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Thank you so much, Scott, and everyone at eSpork MX. eSpork MX, I've had a blast. My adrenaline is high. I understand why everybody does it, no matter what age. I mean, just start it. Brett, thank you so much. From our very own pro. Actually, how many pro bikers, pro motocross racers are there in the Cincinnati area?
Not so many. I think we have a couple, in Ohio. I think there's, maybe 4 or 5 total in Ohio.
Wow,
So,
and you're one of them.
Yeah.
Good royalty today. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, dude.
Of course, it was fun, and thank you for having me. I had a blast, and I always love, sharing my passion with other people. So
Yeah,
it's fun.
man. It's pretty rad.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. We wanted to make sure that we did have a fourth block for you. Last time we had a drink person over at the bar and ended up taking up much of our time and really didn't have much time for a fourth segment. We're trying to do better is what I'm trying to say. It is Friday. That means movies are coming out this weekend. You know what a fan of movies we are here on the show. The big release this weekend is Toy Story 5. I don't know if you've heard about it. It's a small little indie film that's just been really driven by a small independent theater fan interest. Toy Story 5 from Disney Pixar. We got a clip?
I'm going to have some words with this lily pad and let her know how things are run around here.
Try to stay calm, Jesse.
Buzz, you know me. I'm the definition of calm.
That's not going to work.
Hi!
What the?
Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. Sleep mode, you know? No? Forget it. Was just gonna hop on the charger. Battery could use a little refresh.
I want to talk to you, device.
Please, call me Lily.
So this is on pace for a huge domestic opening weekend, tracking $140 to $150 million. And again, that is just Domesto. That would be a new franchise record for a fifth movie. Making that kind of money and setting new records on the fifth go-round is nothing to sneeze at in the movie business. That's really impressive. On track to get the biggest domestic opening of the year, looking at a $275 million global debut. That could be really big. Toy Story 5, there's a Taylor Swift song on the soundtrack, so good luck any other movie that's coming out this weekend. One of those movies that is coming out this weekend is The Death of Robin Hood. That is starring Hugh Jackman. This is a nice alternative for grown-ups. If you have to take your kids to go see Toy Story 5, maybe check out The Death of Robin Hood. You know, you got Hugh Jackman there playing a tortured tough guy. That's an easy sell. It's not like he's been pigeonholed in that role, that he does very, very well. This movie is directed by Michael Sarnowski, who did Pig and A Quiet Place, the prequel to A Quiet Place that had Lupita Nyong'o in it. That prequel's very good, and Hugh Jackman has done interviews where he said that a big reason that he agreed to do this movie was because of Michael Sarnowski's Pig, which is a very sweet little indie film that has Nicolas Cage trying to get his pig back. His pet pig, his best friend pig, got captured, kidnapped, and he's desperate to get it back. It's a really good little revenge movie. Anyway, but this is The Death of Robin Hood, an alternative for adults in theaters. And one other movie I wanted to put on everybody's radar, because it is Father's Day weekend, there was a movie that came out not too long ago that I remember hearing about and then completely lost track of, called Pressure. I believe we have a clip here.
D-Day will be the largest seaborne invasion in history. Captain Stark, you're the best meteorologist in the country. I need a forecast. You've got 61 hours.
There are two major storms stretching across the Atlantic to Normandy.
We should go, sir.
I couldn't disagree more.
If D-Day is cancelled, we will lose this war.
If you invade tomorrow, they're going to be washed away.
This movie came out in late May. It was in theaters for 2 weekends, and then it's gone. It is available if you want to pay for the rental. And this is a no-brainer for Father's Day because it involves both World War II and weather. So if there's something you're looking to watch with your dad, you could do a lot worse than checking out Pressure. It's got a really good cast, and that could be a really fun one for you if you're looking for something to watch this holiday weekend. I'd like to thank my guest, Kathy Hickey of Streetside Brewery, for coming on the show, telling us about all the different products they have going on there. Tusculum Fest, Tusculum Street Fest, is this weekend on Eastern Avenue. It is Father's Day weekend. Today is Juneteenth. There's a bunch of U.S. Soccer matches. There's all sorts of World Cup matches going on. You got the Savannah Bananas in town. There's a ton of things happening in Cincinnati this weekend. Get out, enjoy the weather, do something for it. That's our show. Thanks again for everybody. Great job on the show this week. Thank you for watching. Enjoy your weekend. We will be back on Monday. Of course, Monday morning is when First Word with James Rapine is back at 7 a.m., bringing you all sorts of sports stuff. Here's where you can find the Crown Network. case you can't see what you're looking at right now, stream us live or on demand, cincycrown.com. Give us a like, give us a follow on social media. There's all of our shows. Nat Tries That, The Nat Jones Show, Rebound Rundown with Paul Fritchner, all of the programming here on The Crown. Enjoy your weekend. There's plenty to do out there. Be safe, have fun. We'll see you on Monday.